Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul over here, and today I'm gonna talk about why foreigners may not like KGF Chapter 2. You heard it right. This is not my opinion, but I'm just gonna offer you an explanation. Okay, so you guys might have seen the review that our stupid reactions have just launched a few hours ago. I watched it and I understand them, but there are a few things that I need to explain to you guys who are watching. So first of all, I want to please say, don't hate them for their opinion, because they are one of the most brutally honest channel out there. However, I need to explain a few things, okay? And it's not their fault, okay? And I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to explain here. And I'm not defending KGF, and I'm not defending the foreigner side. I just want to show you the, because I understand both sides of the coin. So I just want to explain to you guys why foreigners may not like this movie. I loved it, and I'll explain why. Okay, so let's take a look. What did they actually say? I'm not going to react to the whole thing because I have a lot to say, and this is not about our stupid reactions. This is about foreigners watching KGF.
Yeah, there's a lot I would like to talk about, and none of it's good, kids.
Yeah. There's some.
Not for me.
Cinematography.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you just said none. I'm telling you.
I just said okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually don't want to play a reaction to their video because I actually watched their video already. And first of all, let me talk about this. And I just want to say, what I'm saying is I'm speaking out of my experience as a producer and as someone who has been working in this industry for a long time. So movie makers, filmmakers have different opinions than people who are just movie goers, okay? So I just want to say, first of all, this video that I'm making will have no spoilers. However, it might change your opinion or your expectation for KGF, okay? So first of all, what I want to say, and based on what they were saying, is that, look, KGF Chapter 1 was a movie that provided a full backstory. It showed Rocky as a child. It showed Rocky growing up, his relationship with his mother. He was a tough guy, and he was touched by Rena, and then he had a character arc. So he went from this tough guy to the savior of KGF. Okay? So that's what happened in KGF Chapter 1. In KGF Chapter 2, we don't have the backstory. Okay? So we don't have this backstory because that was covered in KGF Chapter 1. So what happens when it comes to foreigners? They are used to the Hollywood type of structure where there is, a character arc. In KGF Chapter 2, what it feels like is that this character arc was deassembled, if that's a word. It feels like they got this whole character arc that was built in Chapter 1, and they just put it aside and said, okay, this is a new character, this is a new movie, this has nothing to do with KGF Chapter 1. Okay? So foreigners may not like that because they want a continuation. They want something that is continuing the Part 1. However, what we need to bear in mind is that the gaps that we expected or we saw in the movie were basically filled in with the whole culture in India. So when foreigners watch a movie, they watch everything that is on screen. When Indians watch a movie, they watch the movie on screen. They follow it on social media. They follow it everywhere. So when you watch KGF Chapter 2, you shouldn't watch it just for the story of the movie that you're watching, you should watch the story of the movie, the story of the making of the filmmakers, of Yash, the whole hype. That plays into KGF Chapter 2. So when we foreigners, I'm including myself because I'm a foreigner, but when we watch it, we have the Hollywood structure where everything that is on screen is what we are supposed to associate with. The character arc, building, everything. We saw it in Chapter 1. So we want to see the continuation of that. But what we forget is that there were 3 years in the making. There were countless debates. There were a lot of things that were going on off screen. And that plays into Rocky's character in KGF Chapter 2. If you don't put that into perspective and you think, okay, so everything that has been happening in the past 3 years in India, that plays a role in Chapter 2. So we don't need the movie to explain to us why Rocky became this way. Because if you have watched Chapter 2, you know that Rocky is in a superior position. And when you think of it as a moviegoer, you understand everything that you talked to your friends, during lunchtime, everything you talked to your friends at school, at university, at work, throughout the whole 3 years, it plays into Rocky's character. So it's Indians consider the story to be ongoing after KGF Chapter 2 finished. Chapter 1, sorry. After KGF Chapter 1 finished, the story was ongoing with their talks. But foreigners only watch Chapter 1 and then they expect the story to continue in Chapter 2, which is the essence of Hollywood movies. You watch the first movie and you watch the sequel. Everything needs to be connected. Okay, so that's one point. What I imagine that Prashant Neel wanted to do was he wanted to show us Rocky on another level. He's on another level, and that's the whole essence of KGF Chapter 2, the next level. Okay, now how does this happen in Hollywood? There is there's a sequence where you go up, you build, it's called the build up, and then you have the drop where the character suffers some type of drama, and then there's the resolve, and then you keep on going to the climax, and then you have the payoff. So these waves are what conduct a movie in Hollywood. However, in India, we don't have the same ups and downs that American movies have. What Indians love about it is the dialogue, the emotion that you feel at that moment. You watch it as you go, you understand it as you go. So you don't watch it based on logic, you watch it based on emotion. So that's another thing that you cannot replace or you cannot consider. So a foreigner will watch this movie thinking of connecting the dots. Okay, so this happened and this happened. An Indian will watch it connecting all the emotions. Oh wow, look at that. Oh wow, look at this. Oh, and that's the second point. You have to watch it as an emotion. Okay, another thing is that number 3, foreigners, they don't understand the whole concept of loving the actor. They watch the movie not because of the actor or because of the director. They watch the movie because of the story, of the character. So Indians normally watch a movie with the connection outside the movie. People have connection with Yash. People have connection with Prashant Neel. People have connection with Hambali Films, with Vijay Kiragandur. So they love their craft. Foreigners will watch it for the movie itself. Okay, so every aspect outside the movie, it doesn't play a role in the movie. Okay, so basically that's why foreigners will not enjoy the movie at the same emotion as the Indians, okay? Which I'm not saying any of them are wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong. As we have seen in our Stupid Reactions review, they love the craft. They love cinema. And cinema is a part of fiction. Okay? But in India, cinema is not fiction. Cinema is emotion. Cinema is talent. Cinema is pride. So that's why when you say something bad about that, it feels like you're attacking the skills of the director. But try to understand that our Super Reactions and all of the other foreigners that are not, giving good reviews about this movie, they're not talking about the people. They're talking about the movie. And this is something that we need to separate fiction from reality. Okay? You watch an Indian movie based on the emotion, based on how it makes you feel. And that's why this movie is full of scores. That's why every line that is delivered by Yash is an emotion. The whole factor also. Let's talk about point number 3 or number 4. I forgot which point we are in. But the whole fact of Yash delivering a key phrase, a line, is something that is very rare in Hollywood movies. We have catchphrases in Hollywood movies. I'll be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Hasta la vista. The Terminator. They have all of these catchphrases that impact the movie. So in Indian movies, when you have dialogue, that is the heart of the movie. And because this is not prevalent or 100% shown in American movies, this is not like this kind of becomes cringe for Americans or for foreigners, because every single line that is a catchphrase, it won't bring emotions to Americans, because they will think, oh, this is, like, I'm wearing headphones. If you say it with enough emotion, Indians will like it. If I put, where are my goggles? Where are my sunglasses? If I put sunglasses on and say, this is the best review ever. If I say it with enough emotion, Indians will feel that emotion. Because Indians are looking for emotion in a movie. They're not looking for logic. They're not looking for anything. Because this is, what Indians understand is that a movie is supposed to make you feel things. Okay? It's not supposed to make you think. It's not a documentary. And, foreigners think while they're watching the movie. They want logic. So, I'm not saying any of them are wrong. I'm just saying it's different culture. A movie is supposed to get you speaking with your friends, get you excited with your friends. A movie is supposed to go off screen in India. So whenever they talk to each other, they quote the movies. It becomes a meme. It becomes a culture. It becomes part of their dialogue. There is this thing in India where there's a WhatsApp status where they put the status of people, of dialogues of the movie. It's a huge thing. So it's not cringe. It's part of their culture. It's part of what makes Indian cinema awesome. So you can't use that as an excuse to say, oh, this was cringe or this was over the top. That's the point. If there are any anti-gravity scenes, the point is to bring you emotions. Let me go to my 4th point, which is India has a growing film industry. So what Prashant Neel, Yash, Hombali Films did for this movie was a showcase of what they are capable of doing. That's why there are slow motion effects. That's why there are so much, unnecessary CGI, because they want to show their capacity. With only 100 crore budget, they can make a movie that will compete with Hollywood. That's the fact. They had great fight scenes. They had great, they had a great showcase of the movie. So when Indians watch that, they feel pride. This is my country making a movie that is high class. They don't worry about the story. They worry about the achievements that was made. So I could say that KGF Chapter 1 made history. KGF Chapter 2 made breakthroughs. So it's not about the movie itself. It's about the achievement. It's about the promise. It's about what the cinema, the industry, the crew have achieved in this movie. So if you go there looking for story, looking for connection, looking for, oh, this will be the sequel to number 1, you will miss out on everything that this movie is made to do. So that's why foreigners will not understand it, because they are trying to connect chapter 1 with chapter 2, but they are two completely different movies. What Prashant Neel showed us was that this is how far we came. This is how far we came. We went from being a small industry in Karnataka, and now we are the biggest movie in India, breaking records. That is the essence of Indian cinema. So if you're going to watch an Indian movie to give your American Hollywood perspective, it's gonna clash. It's going to clash. And I know many people will say, okay, many foreigners watch Indian movies, so they understand the essence. So the problem is in the movie. No. The problem is not in the movie. The problem is that you're putting your knowledge of filmmaking into an industry that doesn't apply the same rules. It's like applying gravity in space. It's so different. It's such a different dynamic, okay? What makes KGF Chapter 2 so special is that it has the dialogues, it has the execution, it has the effects, it has the emotion. It makes you proud of seeing how Yash came from. I saw a video showing that Yash was promoting his movie in a van, and now he is has the most awaited movie. So bear in mind that we're not watching a simple movie. We're watching history in the making. That is the essence of the movie. And I know you guys may disagree with me. You guys may think, no, but a movie is supposed to have story. No. And what our Stupid Reaction said in terms of the movie being a trailer, yes, that is the essence of chapter 1. That's why I liked chapter 1. When I watched KGF Chapter 1, I told everybody, this movie looks like a trailer in every single scene. If I get any cutout of this movie, it will be a trailer. And I said that with pride. That's what made me like KGF Chapter 1. That's what made me be proud of KGF Chapter 1. So you can't use that excuse to say that KGF Chapter 2 being a trailer is bad. No. And the only reason you feel that way is because you watched the trailers. So when you watch KGF Chapter 2, you're going to see lots of repeated scenes because you watch it on YouTube. And that's the essence of Indian cinema. They provide, scenes so that people, it's a taster, it's a teaser, it's a glimpse. People will feel like, oh, I like this. And they're going to watch it in the big screen. So that may be a spoiler for you. You may be watching it, like, but I've seen this before. Oh, I saw this on YouTube. Yes, you saw it on YouTube. That's the idea. So I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just explaining why there is this clash between Indian cinema and Hollywood cinema. And guys, I hope you fully understand what I'm saying. You cannot watch an Indian movie and expect it to be a Hollywood movie. These are two different industries. These are two different mentalities. Oh, but something happened that I did not like and I would change. Life is unpredictable, and when you always look for a happy ending, or when you always look for an explanation, why did this happen, you're not going to understand it. Even like the women in this movie, most of them do this. What does that mean? That means they're suffering. And instead of saying, oh my goodness, why did this happen? No, it could have changed. No, you should understand their pain. You should understand the pain of a mother. You should understand, all of that emotion that's going on. They're suffering. They're on their knees. So it's not boring. It's just a matter of understanding the culture. This happens day after day. Mothers get on their knees begging to see their children again. This is part of the Indian suffering. This happens a lot. So when you watch this movie, don't think about the cinema perspective. Watch it thinking about the culture. So movie makers with a Western view might not understand this. Oh, but why did Rocky change so drastically? Because what Prashant Neel wanted to show was that Rocky, throughout these 4 years off screen, he has become much superior than everyone else. He has become a god to these people. So I would really consider, if any foreigner is watching this, watch it again, but with an Indian mind, with an Indian perspective. This movie showed me the talent that the crew has. They borrowed a few inspirations from the Vikings. They borrowed a few inspirations from even City of God, which is a movie from my industry, from my country, Brazil. Everything that we saw in KGF Chapter 2 was a better version of what we have seen throughout the years. So when movie makers in India make a movie, they show everybody, look, I can make the same thing, right? We can make the same thing. This is the future of the cinema. This is what we can achieve together. This is the next level. So all of the emotions that you missed out on Chapter 2 was because maybe you didn't fully understand the language based on the subtitles, and not only the language, but the culture. When you see Rocky saying, like, for example, I'm going to mention the last part where he talked to the white person that appeared. That dialogue is blasting. That is amazing dialogue. I'm not going to say what the dialogue is, but it involves him looking at a CEO, which is a white person, and he says, oh, I'm the CEO of a company, right? And then what Rocky replies, that's the essence of Indian movies. Oh, goodness. Why can you not understand that? That was one of the best scenes of the movie, and you guys are complaining about it. Okay, so now I'm personally attacking our super reactions. Guys, I'm so angry at this review because so many people were looking forward to this movie, and they understand that this is not just a movie, it's an achievement. So, okay, I'm gonna stop talking right now. But every foreigner that watches this movie, I tell you, if you watch it the first time and you don't like it, watch it the second time, but take an Indian perspective to it. Don't think of this as a movie. Think of this as history in the making. Okay? And I understand where they're coming from. I understand. I really do. I really do. And in my opinion, I wish that this movie had a more Western view on it. But this is India. This is India. Right now, when we're watching KGF Chapter 2, we're not seeing Rocky as the Messiah, the God of the people, right? We're seeing Yash. If a movie makes you feel sad, foreigners will not like it. They'll be like, oh, come on. I have experienced that many times. But Indians appreciate that emotion. If a movie makes you cry, they appreciate that emotion because it managed to do what it was supposed to do. Of course, we have foreign and Hollywood movies that happen to do the same thing. That at the end of the movie you cry. You know, Titanic, let's say, The Fault in the Stars, A Walk to Remember. You know, these kinds of movies, they make you cry, man. They make you cry inside. But guys, you should watch the movie with passion, considering the whole culture, the whole fan base, the whole fandom. That's what is missing when foreigners watch Indian movies. Understanding the essence. I think that's all I have to say. I've been here for 30 minutes, and I've been trying to explain what happens. Okay, so this was supposed to be an explanation. It became a rant, and I don't want it to become an attack or anything, because guys, we should respect the opinions. But if I'm looking at this, looking at the future, looking at, you know, this is a movie that has brought all of the impact, emotion, and the editing was impeccable. What are you talking about? Guys, a trailer is what makes you feel interested in a movie. So a movie that is a trailer within a trailer within a trailer is a movie that never gets boring. And the reason you might think it gets boring is because you had high expectations on action, on, you know, having the same character, you know. But in this movie, we see a different Rocky. We do. The thing is, what Prashant Neel wanted to do was keep us on edge. He wanted to give us a lot of plot twists within plot twists. And watching it, understanding the impact of delivery of the dialogue, the acting, is what makes it, you know. I mean, the simple fact that Rocky was funny, was menacing, was, you know, the simple fact that Rocky was, he's the anti-hero, right? He always has been. The simple fact that he's like violence, violence, violence. That is, he's funny and menacing at the same time. That is what made Kicha Sudeep shine in Iga. That is what made Yash break through as an actor in KGF Chapter 2. Because he's not just delivering lines, he's delivering gold. And that's my opinion, okay? And that's the opinion of many Indians. So I'm not defending Indians, but it's an Indian movie. Watch it with Indian eyes. Come on, Indian mentality when you watch Indian movies. American mentality when you watch American movies. Guys, many people will criticize The Fast and the Furious for having no story and only action. Why do you watch it? Why is it such a success? Because people like the feeling that they have. Whoa, you know. Okay, they love it. They love it. That's the same thing in India. When I was watching KGF Chapter 2, it reminded me a lot of a movie called Tropa de Elite number 2, which is a Brazilian movie and which is a movie that I absolutely love. It may have some unrealistic moments, but it's about the, you know, the special forces in Brazil that fight the drug traffic in Brazil. So I understand it in an American perspective, and I understand it in an Indian perspective. But guys, I have to side with the Indians because this is an Indian movie, so you have to watch it with Indian lenses. And also, I know that some Indians will not enjoy this movie, especially if they're not in touch with Karnataka region or with the South industry. I know that there will be a clash here, but the reason there will be a clash is because they are avid Hollywood watchers. So what I urge you to do is when you watch this movie, don't compare it to Hollywood. It's not a Hollywood movie, okay? Don't compare it to your knowledge in cinema. It doesn't follow the simple rules of cinema. It follows the rules of Yash. the rules of Prashant Neel. It follows the rules of Rocky. If they want you to feel happy, they will make you feel happy. If they want to make you feel sad, they will make you feel sad. If they want to make you feel excited, they will make you feel excited. It's the feelings that they want to make you feel that they will make you feel. And if you're disconnected with the movie, then you're going to give a bad review online. That's as simple as it is. Watch it again with an Indian mentality, Indian eyes, Indian lenses, and get back to me. You'll probably enjoy it more. The same thing happened with Pushpa. If you don't understand regional movies, what are you doing watching Pushpa? Watch it with Indian lenses. I did not feel 1 second of boredom watching Pushpa. There was just one part that I felt, which was the same thing that happened in KGF. The romance was, in my opinion, if you're not supposed to have romance, don't have romance, okay? But I understand the fact that they put that romance scene in Pushpa and that romance scene in KGF Chapter 2 because they want to have comedy. It was an insert to have that. And that happens a lot in Indian movies. We have seen this happen a lot in Bollywood. Out of the blue, out of nowhere, the female character and the male character fall in love, or maybe they fall out of love. You know, it happens like that. There is no logic, there is no explanation. Yash himself told me in the interview we had that sometimes, you know, there are love scenes that are spontaneous and there's no logic, and we shouldn't look for logic, you know. But you don't need an explanation to fall in love. That's real life. You know, sometimes you're like, So essentially, when you watch an Indian movie, you and your imagination have to fill in the blanks. Oh, so she fell in love with him, like Pushpa, for example. She fell in love with him, but we didn't see what happened off screen. So the story needs to keep going in your mind off screen, especially because Indian movies are 3 hours long. That's another point I want to make. So when foreigners watch 3 hour long movies, 2 hours and 45 minutes, more specifically in KGF, they get bored because they're not used to watching 3 hour long movies. So that plays a role in how, you know, foreigners feel. But Indians are used to watching 3 hour movies, and when you have a 3 hour movie already, you don't want to make it 4 hours. So you can imagine the amount of material that the production company has. So for them to cut all of that and make it into a 2 hour and 45 minute movie, it's a challenge. So some of the storyline is left out. So guys, you know that there's a lot of cuts. You know that there's a lot of behind the scenes, the deleted scenes. There are so many deleted scenes. So when you watch a movie as an Indian, you fill in the blanks. When you watch it as a foreigner, you want the movie to tell you everything that's going on. So that's why there are many more theories in Indian movies than there are in, you know, American movies, because American movies, they put everything on screen and they tell you this is it. Indian movies, they make you think, they make you imagine, they make you, you know, ponder. You're like, oh, okay, so this happened because of this, and then you talk to your friends about it. So the first reaction that a foreigner would make would be criticize. Oh, they didn't show us this. And the Indians would talk to their friends and be like, hey, did you see this? Oh, I think this is, oh, two different things. Two completely different cultures. I'm not saying they are bad. I'm not saying they are wrong. I'm saying two different cultures. So when you watch, and also if you're an Indian, when you watch an American movie, don't say it's boring. Try to understand that it has a storyline, it has an essence. So watch it with American eyes. And if you're a foreigner watching Indian movies, watch it with Indian lenses. Not only American versus India, but when you watch a Brazilian movie, you need to understand the whole story behind it. You need to understand our essence. So if you can't appreciate the whole culture when you watch the movie, then explain to your audience that you're giving a review with your experience, because you guys, okay, I'm speaking directly to our super reactions. They are very knowledgeable in movies. They're very honest. They're very loving for the craft. They are in the business. They have studied. They know a lot of things. But all of their knowledge is Hollywood. Of course, they have a lot of experience in Indian films. But when I watched their reaction to, I think, Bahubali, and when I watched their reaction to this movie, KGF Chapter 2, and from what I think they talked about Pushpa, I haven't watched their reaction or their review to Pushpa. I can see that a lot of opinions that they have is based on the time they spent watching Hollywood movies, and the comparison, or their knowledge in the industry, in the art form, in the seventh art, which is cinema. They studied a lot. So when you study a lot, you tend to have a parameter. It's like when, my mother's recipe to a certain dish. If somebody else makes it differently, I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to say, it's not as good as my mother's recipe. It's not as good as my mother's dish. And the fact is that it's a different dish. Your mother does it one way, my mother does it another way. And we have different taste buds. I like spicy food. You might like sweet, I like savory. So I cannot say that what your mother made for you is not as good as what my mother made for me, because a lot of things play into the dish. What my mother means to me, what type of food she fed me during my years, how I got my taste bud, and when your mother raised you, she also raised you with other different foods that made you acquire a taste for your mother's recipe. Does that make sense? So when you grow up watching Hollywood movies, you may not appreciate Indian movies. So when you watch Indian movies, you may not appreciate the slow-paced, maybe romantic movies of America. So two different industries, two different cultures, two different tastes. Don't compare, don't apply American logic to Indian emotions. That's all I ask. And that's why foreigners may not appreciate KGF Chapter 2. I hope my rant explanation makes sense. I hope I have provided insight. That's it, guys, for today. They're very honest. I appreciate honesty. I appreciate their opinion. I just have a different thought. I think that Indian movies should be watched with Indian feelings. Okay? This was my non-spoiler rant, and I hope you guys appreciate it. I will come back with a spoiler review, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if our super reactions wants to debate, we can have a Zoom meeting, a collaboration. Let's talk about movies. I would really love talking to you guys. So if you are a fan, then go tell our super reactions, let's debate. Let's talk about this. Let's be open about the movie and talk about this and debate. And I'm calling you guys out. Let's do this. Find me on Instagram. Send me a message. Let's talk movies. I love it. See you soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.